This is
Revive FM
94.0 with the latest news from around the world.
Good afternoon. You are tuned into Revive FM. That's 94. We're at the heart of Newham Community Beats. Don't forget to subscribe, comment on our YouTube page, Revive Newham, Revive FM UK, and follow us on Facebook, Instagram, and under the same name. My name is Sant. I've got Pauline, who's the secretary of Friends of Queen's Market. I've got Stan, who's a very long-standing activist in Newham and an activist for Queen's Market. So let's start with what it is. We've created today's going to be a bit of everything. You know, we're gonna try to piece together.
You're going to mix it up.
We're going to mix it up a little bit. Yeah, we're going to mix it up. First thing I want to do is I want to talk about Queen's Market more, and I want to bring Queen's Market out, out the dark, bring it forward. So more and more people are aware of what we do and what it is that Queen's Market actually has been fighting for the last 21 plus years. So I'm going to hand you over to Pauline. Now, hopefully she can start on a note, on a good positive note. First of all, let's take the history of Queen's Market from the perspective of Friends of Queen's Market. If you could take that.
No, hold on. Pauline, tell us about the melon eating yesterday at the market. Hold on about the history.
Oh, we got another. Oh God, we got it.
Go on, Pauline. Tell us about the melon.
This is just what's such fun about the market. I'm wandering around nearly 6 o'clock, wondering what to buy. Come to this stall, and they're all munching on the melon. The guy who's working on the stall and his two mates from other stalls.
This is Revive FM 94.0.
Reviving communities.
The views expressed on this program do not necessarily represent those of Revive FM or its management.
Are you sure? Are you sure? Just wait.
£2.
You can't beat it. Melon from the market.
Now, history. Let's go into the history of Friends of Queen's Market.
Well, yeah. I mean, skip over very quickly, but
Yeah.
it was started.
Do you want 100 years history?
Yeah. Let's start with the big problem of the market. It sits on very valuable land. It's right next to the underground, so it's very convenient to shoppers.
And it's Green Street.
Very convenient to shoppers, but with this gold rush for land, it's worth an awful lot of money, the land there.
Yeah.
And so that's why in 2003, the council thought they'd let the developers have the land and make a load of money. So when Friends of Queen's Market got wind of it, a few of us got together and said, shall we see how people feel? Let's call a meeting. And we called it in the local Gurdwara, Sikh temple.
Was that Neville Road?
Yep. And we said, well, I don't know. We printed about 200 notices. I don't know how keen people will be. But in the event, 30 people turned up. And we thought, yeah, that means there's concern because people don't like going out of an evening after they've been at work all day. So 30 people was enough to launch a campaign. And it went from there, and eventually we got rid of the developers in 2010. Long story there, won't bore all of this.
Go on, tell us what they were going to do. Build an Asda there?
But before we go on, we have another addition, Khadija.
Guest.
She's a guest, or a permanent guest into Friends of Queen's Market. And she's been doing was it a film?
Do we need to pull that other microphone down for Khadija? Or?
No, you can work on that mic. You can work on that mic. So what it is, if you like to introduce yourself, just a small little, because we've gone into the history of the market. So what I want to do is keep pulling in the thread of it, and everybody just sort of blend along with it. So if you could just sort of put a little input on what do you see Friends of Queen's Market, and when you came in, what was you looking for to find?
Right, yeah, no, I'm kind of a newbie to the campaign, and I was just looking to find the people trying to keep the market alive, and that's how I found you guys. I feel like I was at UCL doing ethnographic documentary course, and I decided to make it about Queen's Market. And something I found really, really interesting is that there's always this like invisible group of superheroes keeping things running that no one really knows about. So it was really fun to get to shine a light onto you guys.
Great. So, when it concerns superheroes, did you find anybody in particular that you really adhere to?
Well, yeah, of course.
Yeah. Of course.
I
But the thing is, so let's go back to the history. Friends of Queen's Market. Carry on.
Yeah, after the developers cleared out in 2010, leaving, we suspect, the council with quite a bill to pay, but we never found out about that, how much. We had a feeling they'd be back because the land's so valuable. So we were doing all sorts of things like trying to get the roof repaired. Anyway, now the threat of the developers is back again. The council's giving 2 options for the future of the market. Both of them involve building luxury flats on the market. It's always luxury flats.
Of course.
With housing
Of course.
development. And our big job, and I'm sure this will come out from the other guys, has been making sure that the community know what's happening, what the threat is, because somehow it hasn't been publicised from the council.
Well, quick question I got about initially when you took that over and the
Now, hold on, Sam. Pauline mentioned the roof.
Right.
One of the gripes the traders have got is that roof has been leaking for years and the council haven't fixed it. Now, you might want to ask, why is that? Why can't they fix the roof? Why can't they stop the roof from leaking? Is this some kind of, is it a managed decline? They're running the market down, or what? Why can't the council fix a leak in the roof?
Have they ever made any attempt to fix a roof? To fix only the problems with leaky roofs?
Yes, allegedly. Yes.
Allegedly.
But one of the problems with the council is that it does appear, and I'm sure it's not done on purpose, but they always seem to get the worst contractors to do the jobs in the market. So even when it's being repaired,
That must be a coincidence.
the waters come back.
I'm gonna-
Some of it is coming up from the drains, not down from the roof.
Yeah, I've got to ask you a question. When you first took this trajectory of trying to challenge, the system or what was going on, what was the designs like? I mean, was there a design for a massive development? Was there a design? What made you take that battle on? What that challenge? Was there developers that weren't coming in and presenting you with what was suitable for that site, or was a development too out proportion to that location where the market would have been devastated and wiped out clean? What was it, that really sort of, decided that you wanted to take this fight on, that we have to save the market?
Well, we can go back to the beginning when they wanted to put an Asda there, and St Modwin's wanted to build a 31 floor tower block there. The market would have been wiped out.
Yeah.
How can you put a 31 story tower block on Green Street? It's madness. That doesn't fit in with Green Street. Doesn't fit in with Newham or Forest Gate. They don't care. They just want to make as much money as they can.
At that time, was West Ham's ground still West Ham football ground?
Then West Ham was still there.
It was still football.
Yeah, it was still there.
So no development. So these proposals. So we didn't know. Nobody knew what hindsight would provide, and that we know from the market side, because we've had experience from other markets. Within our boundaries. A lot of, as we know, areas don't have that within there. They have one market, one main central town market, and everything's concentrated around there. But we had three. We've got three. We've got one out of the three. So we've got hindsight experience. So could we sort of say that what we saw? Do you think what we saw in Rathbone in Canning Town influenced what you was, how you wanted to challenge the actual status quo, of sort of what I call a land occupation by developers?
The first thing was that you're going right back to 2003. This is really ancient history. The first thing was that one of the traders, there were rumours going around, right? A lot of rumours.
Yeah.
Because we got to know about it much later in the day than we're getting to know about this, because this is just being floated as ideas. I've got a feeling that by the time we knew something was going on, the planning department had already drawn something up. And all this stuff is controlled by law and controlled by the planning department. And the first thing we heard was that there was an advert in the Estates Gazette.
Yeah.
And when we looked at it, it was just selling the land. A land for sale suitable for development.
Yeah.
I mean, come on, you say you want to develop a market's land. You're not going to keep the market there. That's not what development means.
No.
So we reckoned it was a threat. We weren't looking at other markets or anything. We just look at our market. We want to keep it.
Yeah.
And the original idea even was, next door to the market, there's another square. And at the back of it is a big tower block where old people, I'm an old person myself.
Older people.
Yes. The elders are living.
Yeah.
And at that stage, the council was proposing to sell that too, and kick the old folks out.
Is that so? What's the name of that building?
Hamara Gala.
And that sits on the same plot as Queen's Market.
It's kind of next door.
It's
There's
next door.
the two squares.
And they call it Queen Square, but it's basically the same.
Okay. But that's a sheltered housing project, is it?
Yes.
Okay. So when sheltered housing, what do we mean? Protected rents.
Yeah.
People facilitating people how they live there and what have you. Is that what it means?
Yes, and if you go in there, you'll see that the rooms, because it was built in the 60s, and the council is now trying to pull down all the 60s housing, but the rooms are bigger, much bigger, than the rabbit hutches they're building now.
Where would they move them if they were going to knock it down? What were they going to do with these elderly people? I mean, did they ever make a plan for these people?
Well, we spoke to some of them, and they said they were just told, "Oh, you'll be rehoused, but it might not be in the borough. It could be anywhere." And they were really unhappy, and they were frightened because, Newham's their home. They didn't want moved away from friends and family.
Why would you knock something down to build something that isn't as great of quality as well? Like, if we're trying to progress and develop and have a cultural evolution of some kind, why are we knocking stuff down and replacing it with stuff that's not as good?
Fantastic, because we are building houses. I don't think they realise we are building houses. We have been building houses, but they're just of poor quality. They would not handle what an elderly person would require to live, on a supported system.
Exactly. And if we're doing it with housing, how can we trust them to build a better market?
How can we just absolutely? Now I'm going to drift away. I just want to clarify for you. Friends of Queen's Market, how are you funded? I mean, is it a private donor? Have you got a private Arab donor or some sort of donor somewhere that's giving you thousands of pounds?
That's a good question. It has puzzled people because we don't ask a subscription from our members.
Yeah.
We are funded entirely by donations.
Yeah.
Some people have said, why don't you apply for this grant? Why don't you apply for that grant? But you know what? Whoever pays the piper calls the tune. So you start getting a little community grant from the council and you have to make nice noises about the council. And we've got people who really believe in telling it like it is, which has sometimes got us into hot water, but there. So where does our money come from? Just from donations.
From us.
Are you working with other groups? You know, other.
I'll give you an example of donations, Sand. We've got an Australian branch of Friends of Queen's Market.
Yeah. Oh,
and one of our members from Australia, just a few days ago, gave us £60. She shouldn't have done, but she feels strongly about the market. And she's a pensioner. She does work part-time. She's a pensioner. Her husband's a pensioner. But she feels so strongly about the market that she gave us £60. That's where our money comes from.
Well, we don't spend a lot of money. If you like, we could say that people give their labour rather than their dough, you know, giving out leaflets, designing leaflets to tell people what's going on, and the social media too. That's not me. I leave that to my esteemed colleagues.
Right. Okay. So we've right. So we know that its fundings come from within. It's created by people who have an affinity to want to protect, you know, what is a community asset, really. So what I want to ask you, one other thing is well, there's many questions. Is the latest issue we got at the present moment is a good growth issue. It's a lighting issue. And it was a bugbear from last time. How is it going? Have we progressed any further with this lighting issue? Have we got, you know, are the council listening? Are the council doing what they're supposed to do? You know, are we still we still divorced from the council?
One word, no. We've heard nothing about, you know, the council fixing the lighting, putting better lights up.
It was quite haunting as well to like spend about 3 months filming at the market where it's so lively and bustling, and then I went there last week, I think, or the week before that, and half the market was shut down. Like there was no, like, I think there was some trading going on like at the far back, but seeing it like all clogged up with signs that say market open as usual felt really, really ironic and cruel.
I mean, the thing is, it does look as if it's
the council are meant to they're meant to be coming back to the traders about fixing the lighting, putting better lights up. But as of yet, we've not heard from the council.
So, how was it received by the management as well, the market? You know, I mean, you know, what you're pushing forward. I mean, has this gone any higher? Have you pushed it any higher? Has any MPs taken it on? Has any councillors taken it on?
I mean, Sadiq Khan has said publicly that he's going to come to the market.
Sadiq Khan?
Sadiq Khan, the mayor.
The GLA?
Yeah, the GLA, the mayor, because the Greens raised it. They said, look, the lights, the so-called new lights that they put up has made the market darker than it was before with the old lights. And Sadiq Khan said he would come to the market.
But who presented it? So who presented it to the GLA?
Well, there's two things I want to say here. One is that it was Zoe Garvey, the Green GLA member.
Oh, fantastic.
And our Greens, the Newham opposition, our Greens and our Independents have been great, very supportive. Why Sadiq Khan? Because the money that's funding these so-called improvements has come from the GLA.
£7 million.
Yeah.
So £7 million, £7.5 million, I think it is. So Sadiq Khan, did he actually make a promise? Did the Greens actually manage to get a promise out of it?
Yes, she asked at Mayor's question time, and she said to Sadiq Khan, you know, very politely, very nicely spoken, Zoe, you know, I think she could charm the birds off the tree.
Oh, absolutely.
And yeah, come and have a look at the lighting. You know, you're only up the road at the new City Hall.
Which they are. Which they are.
Yeah, and he goes, yeah, okay, 2 for 1. I'm very good at handling.
Yeah, there you go.
So we're waiting to see.
We're waiting to see.
And show him. Yes.
Well, we've
had that money now for 4 years, and what have the council done with it? What's happened? The pigeon mesh, the pigeon netting that they put up, which was meant to keep the pigeons out, doesn't work. Doesn't keep the pigeons out. The so-called new lights they've put up are darker than the old lights. We've got the toilets. You can say, oh yeah, after 21 years,
What's the big issue with pigeons?
we got toilets. Well, the pigeons have been nesting in the roof of the market for years, and obviously they poo-poo and they pee-pee, and that ruins the stock of the traders.
Has anybody ever tell you how much that stock's worth over the years?
It must have been worth thousands of pounds.
And
over the years.
did they get anything back? I mean, can they claim on the market insurance, or
As
is
far
there a
as I-
facility?
As far as I know, they've been paid no
So
compensation.
they have to bear the cost of that.
Yeah, they do.
Yeah.
They do.
The traders aren't even allowed to use like the manage the market office kitchen.
I mean, so there is a total disconnect. That's what I can see. Is a disconnect between management and between market.
There is.
And between council and the traders, and it's just a web of just disconnect.
Let me come in here and just say, you may not agree with me, but I wonder how much of what we're seeing goes on everywhere. You
Yeah.
see, the lighting. Now, the lighting, there's two lots of people involved. The consultants who answer all the complaints and have written reports and come down and talk to people, but they're not the people that put the lighting up.
No.
The contractors, we don't even know who they are.
No.
But I mean, why the double handling? Why not just pay a decent firm of contractors? And if the traders want to talk to them, don't bring down these smooth talking consultants. Bring the guys who do the job. But I wouldn't be surprised that this sort of double handling and money to consultants goes on everywhere.
And it's very paternalistic as well, because a lot of the traders at the market have friends that are tradesmen and
Absolutely.
stakeholders and people of that kind of working persuasion. So they know how much things cost. And when people are paying 3 times the amount for a new update that's worse than what they originally had, they're aware that they're being fleeced, and they have the contacts to check how they're being fleeced.
So really, what are we after from the council? What are we after from the management? What is it that we're after? What we are?
Well, for the lighting, I think it's more lighting.
But we need points. We need a bit of transparency first. We need to know what's going on. We need communication. There's a break-in that communication. We need that communication reestablished, right? We need transparency. We need accountability of where that money is going. A trail of the money.
We try and ask the council, look, how much this lighting costs, how much this pigeon netting costs, and they say to us, oh, we can't give you that information because it's commercially sensitive. So they're hardly being transparent and honest.
Yeah, we also need like real partnership with the local community when it comes to consultants, like how they engage with the local community, because it's so easy to create documents and PowerPoint slides and ideas that don't really apply to the real people living there. And I think there needs to be just that basic general level of respect for them so that you're actually taking in what they're saying.
Do you think that's what's missing? Maybe that's the word, the respect. That is missing between.
Lots of things are missing.
Well, we need
Well,
a
that's one of
basic.
them.
We need a basic. But if respect is not there, then how do you move forward from it?
Absolutely, the respect isn't there. I mean, back to the toilets, they don't produce bins in them. Now, that's a total lack of respect. Presumably, the management perception is that if you had bins in the toilets, people would nick them, which is a disrespectful view of the populace, really, really.
What bins are we talking about? Hygienic bins?
Yes. There aren't any.
Yeah, for sanitary waste.
I mean, that is a basic.
That is
That's
a basic.
It's
That's
a basic.
Yeah, that's 50% of the population.
And the thing is, let's go on this toilet. How long did it take for them toilets to actually be there, to get where they are now? I mean, how long have you been chasing after for that?
Well, yeah, very long time, because what they had before were toilets by Veolia, that
Veolia.
firm, yes.
You mean the ones in Queen Square, next door,
That's where they were.
outside the Madagascar?
Whichever way the wind blew, you didn't want to be downwind of those toilets.
Yeah.
They were allegedly cleaned twice a day by somebody in a van who came round and jumped out and cleaned them and went on. Nobody ever saw that van.
No, I remember using those toilets. Those toilets were very, very dirty. I don't think they were cleaned on a regular.
Another thing is,
But I bet it was built.
have you ever seen?
Yes.
Have you ever seen a sign saying public toilets in there outside?
No, I think the signage in general could use an update in terms of when the market's open and stuff like that.
Because in the early days, there wasn't any proper signage for the parking. So I don't think there's proper signage there for toilets either outside, public toilets.
There isn't signage.
I haven't seen any
There isn't
signage.
signage.
So
There
how?
isn't.
So you know, how do people from outside go and find these toilets, which should be accessible to everybody? And this is where the problem is. They're not keeping people, and they're treating people, I think, with better contempt. And I think we really need to be putting this out there. So I think, I don't know, I think we need to be looking at this at an angle where we need accountability. And I don't know what your point, view is on accountability.
I think what I'd like to come in and say, however, is, right, we've told the public that the market's dark and you'll have a job to find the toilet. But remember that people are still flocking to the market because of the bargain price of food and fruit and
It's good stuff.
Yeah, let's hold
At
on
a price
to that.
people can afford.
If you can, go at home before you come to the market, but come to the market.
Well, we're gonna take a little break now. I was told 2 minutes, but I have no idea when that 2 minutes was. So we're going to take a break now.
Thinking about selling or letting your home? With Maxwell.
And online.
Mike's on. Hi, we're back. We've had a little break and a little bit of chit chat. Okay, welcome back. Would you like to carry on with our friends of Queen's Market? Is anything you've got to add to that before we move on to other little topics before everybody starts falling asleep and getting bored?
Talk about the stuff we've done.
Yeah, absolutely.
But this is going to be you and Stan's slot. collecting signatures for the petition. You were two of the main movers. We ended up with 6,000 signatures.
Over 6,000.
Yep, over 6,000. And the awful thing was that in spite of the council's so-called consultations, when we were out there collecting signatures, what's it about? What are they doing to the market? Nobody knew. I mean, well, no, this probably isn't true. About 1 in 500 knew that the market was under threat.
Yeah.
So it was really important. And that was Friends of Queen's Market that drove that
Yeah.
petition.
Oh, can I add one thing to that? Clapton Community Club were fantastic in that. I mean, they contributed to a lot of that. We had a lot of help from them as well. So we have to give them a bit of a thumbs up on that one. Yeah, so carry on.
That was a big thing. And the other thing, which was quite a lot of fun, was when the council did finally decide to consult people about the plans for the market, the two choices. Now, we'd learnt a little bit from the first consultation. I can't remember when that was. And the council has a way when they consult people, they put up all these charts that are so confusing. So we produced our own little leaflet saying that the two choices both involved luxury flats. We said a fair bit more. And we turned up to give the Friends of Queen's Market view of the developers to the people who came along. So we were very polite. We let the people from the council, the planning department, say their say. And while they were saying that to some people, we were saying our say to other people.
Yeah.
But we still were very unpopular with the planning department, you know, although we were saying things like, listen to them, listen to us, make your comments.
Yeah.
And I think
Can I add one thing too? The consultation, on the consultation, they said they consultate, you know, they had something like 200 people or something they consulted with. How do you feel that figure? Where did they come up with this figure? They consulted with so many people to get to the planning or whatever it was at a certain stage. 200 people as compared to 6,500 or 6,000 petition signatures with emails and phone numbers. It just doesn't, the mathematics just doesn't add up. I mean, you, Khadija, have, you know, been part of a lot of this, and you've been on the part of the, what I call the practical side of, the visible side of consultation. How did you perceive that? Because from my aspect, from my point of view, it was a shambles.
Yeah, I think it was interesting to watch, like, just as an observational filmmaker, what I saw watching you guys chat to people and watching the council attempt to chat to people was just things being lost in translation. Pauline, I think you even tried to mention it to one of the consultants. You haven't even got anyone here who speaks all of the wonderful languages of the public that come here.
That's a good question.
And it's just things like that. And I saw an aversion to, I think when you're doing things like this, you've got to build a rapport. But you can't build a rapport with the people that you don't see yourselves in. And I did see moments where it was very clear. With some of them, I don't want to speak for all of them, but where they didn't see themselves in the people of Queen's Market. Who they was representing. And I remember trying to ask, like, are any of you from Newham? What's your relationship to it? Do you care? And watching a group of people who care so deeply and a different group of people who it's not really going to affect them. They're not bad people, but it's not going to affect them. It was wildly different.
People who were working for the council, who were meant to be consulting with members of the public, they were like aliens. Let's be honest. They were like aliens from another planet. They could hardly speak. They could hardly speak in English, communicate.
Yeah.
Let alone.
Are we talking about? Are we talking about sort of? Are we talking about basic?
I was appalled.
Basic sort of communication they didn't have.
Yeah,
because they couldn't communicate.
They just didn't have skills of just talking to people.
Tailoring to your audience as well.
Yeah.
Tailoring who you're talking to as well.
I mean, I was thinking more that their tactic would have been, if we weren't around, that they would say to people things like, look, there's these two options. This one's got a health centre.
Yes.
That one hasn't. It's got more flats. Now, which do you like? And which of the two choices? And with the whole way their suits and their accents, people would feel that they had to make a choice and they couldn't really ask questions about it. And I think they were kind of trading on that. You know, you could be easily intimidated, and people don't like to say, hold on, what do you mean? Or, I don't understand this diagram, you know, where's the market? People don't like to say that because, you know, they don't want to look as if they're thick and uneducated.
Yeah.
And they think, oh, it's me, you know, not the diagrams. But with us there, I hope, you know, we're giving people some confidence.
The thing is, I have a problem. I mean, how many people do you think walked into these mini consultations? How many people do you think, on average, walked into them? Say, like in a library, how many people do you think turned up to one of them consultations? 30, 40, 50? How many do you think turned up into the market? 50, 100?
I mean, we were doing some of it. We were sort of calling people in.
We were calling them. But the fact is, how many people were turning up, roughly? And on an average, 50?
I mean, yeah.
100? We have 240,000 people living and growing. That is not, these consultations are not representative of
it wasn't
the population we have in
It wasn't a
Newham.
real consultation of people living in Newham. I mean, everybody knows that, yeah, the market is brilliant for people who live in Newham, but people come to that market from all over, different boroughs.
Yeah.
You know, we met people from Dagenham, from Hackney, I mean...
Wembley, Wimbledon. All
there was a family from Essex. What was that place in Essex? It was on the tube line. I can't remember the name of the station, but it was like kind of North Essex. They come to that market to shop.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure there's some Canadians in my film speaking about how they're down the market.
We did, yes.
Perfect. Canadians.
Once we did meet a Canadian couple who said they were here on holiday. And I said, you've heard of Queen's Market? And they said, yeah. And we just wanted to come and have a look. And they came and had a look and they said it was fantastic. They loved it.
I mean,
they were from Vancouver.
Now
that's
Vancouver,
reach.
they were
Does
from.
that not answer itself? So the market itself has, you know, it's extended right across the world, really. So it has history beyond its boundaries of Newham. And beyond the boundaries of the channels of the waters that
I mean, everyone knows where Green Street is.
Yeah.
Like, you know, my dad's American. You speak about Green Street, it's an iconic place. I don't know if it's because of the movie and the football and everything else, but it's one of the most iconic places
Shopping,
in London.
people come from all over to shop.
If you was going to give if you was going to say what are the names people have used for Queen's Market? I mean, say location. Give me one.
I'd say Green
You
Street.
give me one. Upton Park Market.
Let me say that when we were collecting for the petition, you know,
Yeah.
sign this petition so Queen's Market can stay. A lot of people said, "What, this market?"
Yeah.
And at first I thought, you know, wakey.
Yeah.
Well, what market do you think we're collecting
Yeah.
for? But it's because they call it Upton Park Market or Green Street Market.
That's right. And
Now, to be honest, I never knew that the proper name for the market was Queen's Market.
Yeah.
I just assumed that it was Green Street or Upton Park Market.
Yeah.
Until I came across the campaign, I never knew. Because my market used to be East End Market. And we were always promised that once those towers were built on East End Market, that the market will always be there at the bottom. But of course, it's gone.
As a question that's been bugging me, I've got to ask you three, and each one of you can say it in your own sort of way. Susan Masters, who's a counsellor.
You have to tell the public who Susan Masters is.
Susan is a counsellor for Newham. She's
an East Ham counsellor.
Yeah, and but the thing is, she made a quote.
A well-known counsellor.
She's a nice counsellor. But what I would like, she made a quote. She said that we want to recreate Rathbone Street Market somewhere else. Can you
Who did she say that to?
She said it.
They want to recreate Rathbone Market somewhere else.
When there was an interview going on.
Council shut it down.
Well, what did they do? They built on top of it. They built in the ground, right? So there's no sign of a market. 3 stalls don't make a market. Now, my question is, can you recreate an historical market that's taken 100 years, 200 years, or whatever
Of course
it
you
is?
can't.
So how can...
Markets are organic. They come from ordinary people.
Yep.
They come from the bottom up.
So
You can't
how-
recreate a market.
So there's no way of recreating Rathbone Street. We don't know if land is an asset, if land is an issue, how can you create a market somewhere else?
You can't. It's
I
nonsense.
don't. Yeah. I don't think you can recreate 129 years of cultural legacy.
Well, no, it was said it was. It's not hearsay. It's what that came out. It was they were going to try and recreate Rathbone Street Market somewhere in Canning Town, but that was I left it out because I said there's no way that can be done. You cannot recreate a historical context market. Same goes with East Ham Indoor Market. You cannot recreate that market.
No,
you cannot recreate the atmosphere. Once it's gone, it's gone. So.
And the atmosphere is the people, and if the people
Yeah.
can't
Yeah.
afford to live in the area, then
No, they
yeah,
can't, they can't.
once it's gone,
So
it's
where
gone.
else where else could you recreate? How can you recreate Queen's Market? Because to build something, what would you have to do?
Price people out in a way slowly, which is already happening, obviously,
already happening.
all over
It's
London.
already
But you would have to
But-
move them all off of that site
Yeah.
for a massive development. That should not even be considered,
Mhm.
because to move them back, it would be difficult. That's like recreating something out of new. It doesn't happen.
Our market should be protected. It's a big part of Newham. It should be protected.
It should be protected as some
Full
sort of
stop.
like a public asset.
And if they really wanted to collaborate and they really, really believed in improving the market, they would work with the traders to make sure that if they do shut down for a significant amount of time, that those traders are looked after or protected, or there's some kind of insurance, and just take the con out of consultation a bit more, because
Yeah.
they're spending triple the price on things that aren't as good. Why don't we put some of that money aside? If they insist, put some of that money aside then to
Yeah.
make sure the traders can, like collect a paycheck in some
Yeah.
way or some fashion, or create some framework so that they don't lose out. They can continue to pay their staff, because it's also one of the only markets that didn't like price gouge during COVID and stuff like that. So I think if the spirit of collaboration was real, they'd be handling this completely differently.
Well, look, the council are meant to have this policy of community wealth building, and surely, if the market isn't community wealth building, I don't know what is.
You see, I think we shouldn't just be telling this, and this is where the problem comes in. We're telling this to all our lovely listeners. We're telling this to ourselves.
Yeah.
The people we need to tell this to are the equity funds
Yeah.
and the developers. Now, if they started saying, oh, well, look, we won't buy this land and pull stuff down because it's a community asset. If I was a developer, I'd say, hey, you're putting me on a slippery slope. If I was an equity fund manager, a hedge fund manager, I'd say, come on, you want me to leave this market alone. Then you want me to leave that street alone because there are all those people living there. Excuse me. The only two things that's keeping Britain going are dealing in land and dealing in arms. Do you want your country to collapse?
And we don't definitely want to be dealing in arms. Definitely not. What is the?
I'm really just saying it links up with some
What I'm trying to say,
big players and big problems.
if we are divorced from the decision making, what is the outcome? What is the outcome of that disconnect of being divorced from actually anything?
Disaster.
And where we're seeing it here now.
So we just get things done to us
Yeah.
that we don't need, that we don't want, that are not for our benefit. We're not cash cow for developers, for builders, for big corporations. I've said it before. People should come first. Newham has got a lot of problems. Yeah. But strangely, the population of Newham is rising, and we need that market now more than ever.
Yeah. Cost of living just biting at everybody's feet.
I think the disconnect as well, is manufactured destruction. So when you look at things like the proposed ideas, like the creative well-being space and things like that, they're going to be shocked when they create this space and people, the actual grafters that live around Upton Park, don't have the time to maybe visit an exhibition weekdays on a week. You know what I mean? When they could really just create a relationship and create a creative space that would be great for the well-being of the population in a way that would actually suit the population. So I think the outcome is just wasted money.
Yeah.
They're just fulfilling their own desires, their own wants, and they don't actually care when in the end, even the people that might work in the health centre or might end up contributing to this well-being space, they all get left behind in the end as well, just as the market will.
But do you not think that being divorced from any decisions, it eventually it demoralizes people because there's no two-way communication. There's no give and take. And the structure to be, which is our local council, local authority, it's GLAs, whoever it is, that the powers to be, are just not listening to us. So when people get demoralized, they actually start to not function as a community. They don't function for the area what they live in. So really, the area starts to suffer. The people start to suffer. You get a lot of other issues coming from that. Mental crisis, you get this. Because there's not a focus of commonality.
Individualism will be on the rise, and
yeah.
people feel more alienated, more isolated, and wonder why. And it's because this really, really delicate ecosystem has suddenly disappeared and they had no idea what it was provided to the community.
But the thing is, I think also is that once population go down that way, or people they start to push their beliefs that everything is corrupt around them. Because corruption does bring out the contempt in people, right, towards whoever's bringing the rules on them, And we've got to be careful about this as well. Because I think, the powers to be needs to be very, very careful how it actually provides for its communities. And it needs to be looking at it in a much more holistic sort of way. I mean, let's take, for example, the development we had at West End Football Ground. Mm-hmm. The developments we had at Galleons Reach, the developments we've had at Canning Town, the developments we had at Stratford, the developments we get on our high streets now. Mm-hmm. Has that stopped homelessness on our street?
No.
Has that put a full stop to it?
Exactly.
Has that provided social housing?
No, it hasn't provided much. And Galleons Reach had a good run, actually. It did well for a long time, but it is a ghost town now.
Absolutely.
And creating these ghost towns in replacement for bustling, vibrant areas, it just seems like insanity to me.
It's insanity. So my understanding, if we're not housing, if we're creating these people, if we're creating these buildings.
In Newham, there are loads of new flats, loads of new tower blocks. Even if you go down to Beckton, where the docks used to be, you won't believe it, what's happened down there. But the problem is, local people, Newham people, cannot afford these rents. They certainly can't afford to buy one of these new flats. It's ridiculous. There's literally thousands of flats are being built. Canning Town, Stratford. Custom House is going to be knocked down because of the new station.
Yeah.
It's just not right. It's criminal. We need proper social housing, council housing, rents that people can afford so they're not living in poverty.
But the thing is, that's where the confusion is. People believe that if we keep building these blocks, that is going to automatically, that we're going to wave the wand and we're going to fix this problem.
I don't think so, because I found that when we were saying, look, all these buildings, doing the petition, there won't be housing for us.
No.
It'll be housing for rich people.
Never is.
Most people agreed. Most people did agree. So I don't think people are being kidded up. I mean, what you're describing, now this is the worrying thing, more or less throughout history, because I'm old, I can talk about that, throughout history, it's been, the rich that get the gravy.
Of course.
Yes, and yeah.
But the thing is, after...
And also this thing about not consulting people, I'm afraid there's nothing new there. Now, what I can see is that with Friends of Queen's Market, we are fighting for the market, but we are perhaps a little bit beginning to challenge those ideas. But we shouldn't, I don't think we should act as if Newham is uniquely wicked. Show me a council that listens to its people.
Brixton Village is up for sale again.
Oh no!
And show me somewhere in England that's building housing for low-income people, lots and lots of housing. Because, and we all know that if they built lots and lots of housing for low-income people, rents would fall, land values would fall, the price of housing. You'd be pleased. But what about my friend, the hedge fund manager? He's going to be very upset.
Somehow they'll have to manage to live on a bit less money.
It's a shame because that's what they did in 1945 after the war. They did do that, even though we were going through austerity, we were having financial issues, but they really invested in the country. And
that's what I'm about to hit.
There's that golden age of a generation where if you got to be born during that time, people like me just look in awe, eyes, starry eyes. Like if we could time travel, we know what year we'd.
There was a lot of politics pushing for that.
There was.
So that's the thing.
But the thing is, it kept people in work. It provided housing. NHS was picking up. It was developing. The whole system it's like being revamped, right? On a go. And that's how we see it. You know, the next generation saw this. Something went wrong. Somebody took over. Somebody sabotaged, hijacked that spirit of development, hijacked that spirit of community work together. So I don't know what went wrong. Something happened. Maybe you'd like to add on that.
Oh dear. Well, yes. I mean, look, to me, that was a blip when the government was doing stuff for working class people. Mind you, it was bumping people off in the most atrocious wars in other parts of the world. But still, let's forget about that. And in England, they were doing stuff for working class people.
Yeah.
But it didn't take long for the rich hedge funds and their mates to fight back. First of all, it was knock, 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 you know. The person who lived in a council flat was portrayed as somebody feckless. They kept coals in the bath. You must have heard that. Yeah. You know, they had lots of children.
Yep.
So that they could have a bigger flat.
Absolutely. Heard it all.
And yet this knock, knock, knock of anti-council house propaganda. And it just, you know, we can't afford to give houses to these undeserving people. And it grew to a groundswell, and then along came Maggie Thatcher. There was a lot of other stuff going on, economic stuff.
We're not going to go down the Maggie Thatcher road, not today. But what would your view be from that spiritual lift? No matter what political direction it came from, but it happened.
It lifted people up. It lifted working people up. And of course, there were massive, huge inequalities at the time, and there still are. But there seems to be a new thing where it's like, if you are a working person, what do you need that nice thing for? What do you need that little bit of joy for? What do you need that extra thing? You shouldn't have that thing. And it's like, well, despite the inequalities of the past, there kind of was a basic, well, no, you are allowed joy and happiness and things that bring you. Yeah. You know.
But that uplift brought people from other parts of the world. Yeah. Because they needed this build. We needed to build back Britain.
And social housing did that, because so many people got to even, you know, become homeowners via social housing as well. Like it literally lifted up a whole generation of people. Yeah. I think it was like around 40% of people lived in council housing, like in the UK during, can't remember what period of time, but that's a lot of people. So I don't know where the shame has come from, because that's a lot of people's grandparents.
Oh, absolutely. you know, one thing I want to drift away from this a little bit, because there's so much to cover. This can go on forever. What I want to do, when it comes down to affordability of owning a house or having a mortgage, before, I think your wages was something like about a third of your wages, right? You should take care of the mortgage. Now it's over half of your wages actually goes into your mortgage. I think now it's even worse. Your mortgage is done over a lifetime, you know, where it goes on to your grandchildren if it had to, right? Right. And so that is what do you think about that? Because in other words, your wages are stagnant, haven't gone up, kept up with anything,
No.
but yet we're expected to pay for a mortgage that we've got wrapped around our neck. So nobody can be free of a mortgage, right, and live comfortably, right, for their retirement age. And pensions are being driven into taxation, right, for left, right, and centre. So what do you think about this affordability of actually getting on the property ladder?
Very like crabs in the bucket mentality, where because we're becoming a poorer country, rather than figuring out good ideas of how we can uplift ourselves once again, we're kind of saying to people, okay, let's make owning a house a luxury, so that the people that are lucky enough to be maybe like within the middle class and just about to get on it feel like, oh, okay, have that holier than thou feeling, which is a shame, because back when I was growing up, grew up in a very working class area in Woolwich. Working people owned houses. It wasn't a shock. So trying to change that shift into being actually, if you get to own your house, it's a luxury. It's moving you into a different like social mobility, isn't right, because housing should be like a human right.
Yeah.
And that's what I was going to say. So
basic human right.
It is a basic human right. And housing, I mean, it was never ever thought of as an asset. It was never thought of as an exchange mechanism where you can make money out of it and then, you know, buy more and all the rest of it. It was for a large proportion of people, it was to house their family. They lived in, they bought their house. It was passed on to the next generation, and that was it. So it was a constant sort of, but it was affordable. It was affordable. I mean, I myself couldn't believe, and I bought my house quite cheap, and I'm a relative term. I have no idea how the young, people are going to do it. I have no idea.
Most of us won't. Most of us won't. Most like working class young people.
But it's your right to be able to have a bathroom, have your own roof, have your sitting room, your kitchen. I don't get it. I mean, we're going back 60, 70 years where you had 2 or 3 families living in one house.
Yeah.
Yeah,
you couldn't afford it then. So you was renting out your room. So we're going back, and that is not the way it should be going, not in a progressive society. So what is happening with these properties? Why are we using it as a currency now? And this is what's going on. So that means the chance of having affordability, it's never going to be affordable. It just won't happen.
See, going back to the market, this is our big argument.
Yeah.
If there was a massive program of building houses for ordinary working class people all over the borough, and they said, well, look, sorry, there's 30,000 on the housing list. We want 30,000 starts by the end of this year. And sorry, it's got to be on the Queen's Market site too. We would be very conflicted, because those poor devils on the housing list, the 6,500 in temporary accommodation. But we need to keep explaining to people that unfortunately the way it goes is there probably won't be any social housing on the site.
No.
If there was, it'll be a handful on the bowling ground. It was 39 out of 842 apartments.
Hold that conversation.
And that's a bad trade-off. We can't accept that trade-off.
Hold that thought. We're going to go for another break, and then we'll start off from that point there. Thank you very much.
4.0. On the radio
On your mobile.
and online.
Yeah, no, I know.
That was a freak.
I'm gonna,
Someone
Right.
stopped it.
Pauline,
Right.
can we just pick up from where where we was talking about the West End football ground and the development site that was there, and what was the
The
outcome?
flats, did we get council?
Yeah, did we get any social housing out of it? How many flats actually went up there?
842 when I asked my freedom of information.
Well, they're still building, you know, they've gone right up to
I think that's it.
Barking Road.
I think, well, that's what I was told is planned, you know. I mean,
Was there any?
starts.
Was there any green sites on there? Was there any green spaces there? Plenty of trees or whatever? I mean, to me, it looked quite sterile, really.
Well, during the planning, they were promised that there would be green areas there,
Yeah.
mature trees. They were promised a community centre
Mm-hmm.
and shops,
Mm-hmm.
which
Didn't have.
they never got.
Never
And
material.
then there's problems, there's fire safety problems with those flats.
Yeah.
There's been a campaign by tenants
Yeah.
to get it sorted out. But of course, the original builders built them and they sold them. And now lots of different companies own those flats.
Was
rent them,
that
whatever.
was that issue raised up before the Stratford issues? You know, the flats in Stratford.
Yeah. They've had protests
So
on
that's-
Green Street
so that's
about
been-
the lack of fire safety.
Okay.
But nobody's taking responsibility. And the way the law is at the moment, I don't think the government can do anything.
Okay, right. We're going to leave that because that's quite deep, really. We're going to come back and that another time. What I want to sort of ask one question is this: you know, we've all visited Columbia Market in Bethnal Green, and that market, that street hasn't changed. You've got cafe shops.
Well, the people have changed.
The people have changed.
It's
Now-
not working class people who live there anymore.
But it's flowers, plants, you name it. It's whatever it is. But there's no high-rise developments on that street.
No, they're all
You know,
terrace
but yet it's catering for a certain
houses
class
where
of
working
people.
class people used
Right.
to live.
Yeah. So we've got people who've left, you know, and we've got people who've moved in, which plants and flowers seems to be their biggest consumption, really, instead of fruit and fresh fruit and vegetables.
Yeah, it's
Maybe
not
that's somewhere other
food or
market.
clothes.
But the thing is, I feel that space has been treated much better on totally different, you know, levels. It just doesn't seem to be interfered with. They just leave it. But yet that space can provide whatever the developers would want. The space is there. They can knock those places down, compulsory purchase, and build as many buildings as they like, because there's plenty around. And because it's near the city, it'd be much more appropriate. And it wouldn't stand out as like some sort of sore thumb.
Well, you hit the nail on the head there as well with what you said about its flowers and plants and aesthetically pleasing things that look good. Whereas places like Queen's Market, where it's all about the essence, sometimes gets looked over.
Yeah.
But
Yep.
the thing is, with essence is a big cultural export. There's a reason why so many cultures
Ooh.
come out of gritty places.
Mm.
There's a reason why, you know, things don't necessarily come out of floral streets, even though I like to frequent them myself sometimes. Like, there's a reason for that. So just because things aren't pretty and pleasing doesn't mean that they don't contain more character than
Yeah.
places like Columbia Market.
Absolutely. But I think thing is, Queen's Market can be beautiful. It has been. I've seen it
Well,
as a child.
you know, I want to know. Okay, Columbia Road Market is great. Plants, flowers, and all the rest of it. And I know it's a different council. It's Tower Hamlets Council, and that market is not threatened. It seems to be cherished.
It is cherished.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
But why is it that our market, Queen's Market, is treated so differently? Is it because it's like working class people work there and go there and shop there, or ordinary people?
It is the most, be blunt about it, it's some of the most poorest and the most powerless people.
Yeah.
So these are the people who always get pushed around,
Yep.
you know, sadly. And just a quick thing about Columbia Road. Bits of the market, you'll find stallholders take real pride in their displays,
Mhm.
you know, the grapes stacking up on the rhyme stall, the way they arrange the fish in Fish at Queen's,
Yeah.
sometimes all facing the same way with bits of parsley and lemon, you know.
Yeah.
But people don't see that.
Do you know what it is?
Powers that be don't see that.
I find the best picturesque moments, like, you know, when you think back, you know, nostalgically, it's in the winter months when it's dark and the lights are on there and the fruit shine out and the textiles shine out and the people shine. They just walk around, mainly just walk around. And it's and a lot of people, you know, they just love that interaction. That's what I found. I've been there when it's been raining, when it's snowed, and yet the market does. There's a nostalgic part to a market. You know, I don't think you could replace that by replacing it.
Even in winter, you know, you go to the market, you say hello to traders,
Yeah,
other people.
absolutely.
You know. There's a kind of warmth there,
Yeah.
even in winter.
Yeah.
You know, when you got your coat on, your scarf,
Yeah,
and a woolly hat,
Yeah.
and you go for a cup of tea in the Bangla tea shop.
Tea-shops, yeah.
You know, everyone loves his coffee because he's from Italy. You know, you don't just find that anywhere.
I'm going to drift. Khadija,
Mhm.
you did a wonderful film, and you showed it at your university.
Mhm.
Could you give us a little bit of sort of you know, you know, and how do you think it went and your experience of doing it, you know, and how was it received at your university when you showed it?
It was really good. Stan came to see it as well.
I forgot.
Yeah, it was good. It was good. It was received really well. It was fun because, like, during the panel time afterwards, I felt like I was a bit just swamped. At that point, I was I'd completely mentally checked out. But I was being asked a lot of amazing questions. I wish I had a bit
Fantastic.
more of this energy to give it back.
Yeah.
But people were invested. I think the first question that was asked was, "What's happening with the market now?" And then I had to
And
obviously
that's from
deliver.
people from the
Yeah,
university.
that's from people from the
Fantastic.
university. And I think the feedback that I got from, like, so many of the people that are like the students and my peers were like, "Oh, you really, like, captured the group of people that you lose if places like this go."
Yeah, yeah. Do you think it is a what do you call a true aspect, a historical content of what you think you present? You know, later on somebody could look at it in 20 years' time, 10 years' time, say,
Absolutely.
you know, we made a mistake.
Absolutely.
We made a mistake again, you know, and not fighting for the market.
Yeah, no, as an East Londoner who is herself being driven out of East London,
Yeah,
I definitely think that people are going to be able to watch
It's
it back
crazy.
and
That is terrible.
see a kind of aspect of it that might not exist anymore. I hope not. I hope I'm wrong, but I like to think that people look back and see, like, that it was way better now than whatever they proposed to try and turn it into.
But I think what it is, I think also as a context, I think it was
People
shown.
should watch that film because it really captures the essence of the market and a little bit of Friends of Queen's Market. I don't want to be
But I think
advertising.
I think that film will put Friends of Queen's Market in some context.
Did you tell us how we can see that film?
I'm going to upload it onto YouTube soon. I just want to edit it even some more. And then I might be organising a screening, hopefully at the Clapton Football Club at some point. But yeah.
I think that they're looking forward to it. So
I think we'll have to get details put on our website.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. All the info,
And
will
if
be
I
there.
could tell the listeners out there that if you want to get in touch with us, try Googling Queen's Market. Interestingly, Friends of Queen's Market will come up first.
Yeah, that's how I found you guys.
And we have got an email address, which is
we have.
Friends of Queen's Market, all one word, at yahoo.co.uk. So drop us a line. And
Just drop us on.
Join us.
Right now, when you've gone into the Queen's Market, I mean, I find when I go in there, there are spaces where we're missing stalls. Now, to me, that shouldn't be. Now, I'm not too sure why that's happening, because that market is so vibrant that every space should be filled. So my question is, why do we have missing space? Why do we have stalls? Why do we have empty pitches there? Because if we have got, I think one of the figures was something like 1,800 footfall going through a given period of time. So if we got 1,800, would that not increase once we fill them other pitches up, with stalls with different varied types of products? Do you not think that the market management should be considering that instead of leaving those spaces empty?
I think this is where you go back to what you were saying earlier about things not being done for the benefit of working class people, and working class people not having a say. Now shoppers and traders really ought to have more say in what's happening in the market, and we should know why those stalls are empty. We should know there is allegedly a waiting list or a list of people who want stalls. That should be public property. And maybe you could not give full details of names and addresses, but it ought to be public property. But none of that, all of that is hidden away from us. That's why sometimes people have said the market should be run as a co-op.
Yeah.
But
well, I think
these things are worrying.
I mean, that it should be run as a co-op or some sort of public asset, where the public owns it. Public could then decide by a panel that yes, we could have that product there, that product, that product. We got people, entrepreneurial people. We got people who want to be there. I mean, when we was there, me and Stan was there. We were talking to people who want to invest for 5 years, 10 years, 20 years. How can they invest when they have uncertainty with that sort of money? Remember, my own belief is that the council does not create wealth. We, the people, create wealth. We, the people, create roots. We, the people, create culture. And we can only do that once we have a safe, secure space to work in. And that's what I have enough problem is. Are they not providing that?
You see, the council can be quite funny because I've heard things said over the years, like they're selling too many fruit and veg stalls, too many meat stalls. And I've also heard people from the council say things like, we really should be selling ornaments and bric-a-brac. And
we do, Sunday market.
Yeah, but what they're forgetting is that the market will only sell what traders want to sell and people want to buy. Yeah, it's no good people sitting, in the market development business.
They don't shop at the market.
Yeah, sort of laying down from on high what stalls we'd like to deal with.
And they could test it out as well, like you were saying, that if there are free pictures and free stalls, you could invite people that maybe one of them does sell ornaments, one of them do sell different things, comic books, different products that maybe aren't the usual market products, and see, right, who sold the best, right, you're in for a bit, it doesn't have to be even long term. You could give entrepreneurial people locally the opportunity to sell and even learn from their mistakes if it doesn't work out.
I mean, would you not? You could run that with a university.
Exactly.
You could run it with colleges,
exactly,
schools. Children can make a product.
And that's just us here chatting. So how have they not landed on these ideas already?
I have. So really, what it is, it's contradictions after contradictions from the council side.
There's a deep reluctance from the council to give something for nothing. Actually, one of the traders did suggest that if a stall was still vacant at 10 o'clock, you should rent it out half price for the rest for what remains of the day. And that went down like a lead balloon when that was suggested.
By whom?
The powers that be.
Powers to be.
Okay.
Okay.
I think people had on that one. People had this vision of traders being incredibly crafty and hanging around till the clock struck 10. This of course is what I get from the council: a deep suspicion of the punters.
Which they wouldn't have if they hang around them for a bit, because I spent about 2 months with them and they're a friendly bunch.
Yes, absolutely.
But the thing is, listen, the market is meant to be a welcoming place, really, for anybody. That's what it's there for. Traders need people.
People want to make a living. You're going to sell. You're going to sell what people want to buy.
Yeah, and in an environment they feel comfortable in. You know, I mean, I went for a walk with the police, and I said to them, no, I went for a walk with the police. They were doing okay, and I said to them, "You're like celebrities," and they said, "Why?" I said, "Because they don't see you much." And I said, "You need to walk through here. The traders will look up to you. They need you here because police used to always walk in and out of the market." And I said, "By you coming in here, it will keep the market. You know, people will give them a sense of feeling safe, and you need to be playing." And they appreciate it. I mean, I attended a safer neighbourhood board, and they said that there's money that's going to be allocated towards market policing. So I'm waiting on an update from that. Hopefully, I'll come back on that next time.
I don't like the idea that markets attract more. I know you're not saying.
No. I'm not saying it's attracting.
You have got people who particularly think that the market is dodgy. You know,
No.
social behaviour and crime. Not more so than anywhere else.
No.
And in fact, in many ways, less. Because if I was jumped and my handbag snatched in the market, I know people would come to my help.
They would, and they've done it in the past with other people.
Yeah.
And that's the thing, they are. But what it is, sometimes prevention is always best cure. Just to have somebody walk through there, and I think that sort of plays a big part. So you know, it's not a case that I'm making any sort of judgment that there's any more crime than anywhere else. But I think prevention is always the best policy. And even the police on the ground understand that. So on that sort of side of it, now, where do we go from here? Where's Friends of Queen's Market going from here? Where do we go? What direction are we going?
I can't see it. This is just me.
Yeah.
We have regular meetings and people come up with all sorts of ideas. Very often it's the newer members who come up with the best ideas because they're kind of fresh, you know. Obviously, we've got to.
We're waiting for Sadiq Khan to come to the market.
Yeah.
He said he's going to come.
Yes.
To see how the money's been spent.
We've got to try and get more lighting for the market. We've got to try and hurry up the building at the front of the market. There's some building going on. Stalls are being redesigned.
How is
and
it?
The market's
Sorry.
all boarded up at the moment.
How far have they got with the canopy work?
By the canopies, you're talking about the stalls they used to have at the front.
At the front.
Yeah.
This is very good, actually. The traders are turning up and engaging with the construction workers on the side. I don't know that the head honcho there is terribly pleased, but when they were last there, they were told that it would be finished by the beginning of December, but I don't know. Friends of Queen's Market has asked for a schedule of works and we haven't got it. I guess we'll have to try a freedom of information question. Unfortunately, I can't see any sort of great big things that we can do at the moment. It's very much a case of plodding away, but that's why we want you lovely listeners to come along and give us your ideas as to what we should be doing and how, and to shed the load too.
And everybody can say to their councillor, we want the market to stay, we want a better market, we want those improvements.
Very important that. I think across
it's people power, we can do it. And we can make our market better and we can save it for generations to come.
Yeah. And I think that should be done all from one side of the council to another. Every councillor should be told, right, we need to preserve that space. I was going to say something else.
And a plea to the younger people who are listening. Look, you're good on computers. You can type something out in 30 seconds. We need you guys because freedom of information questions are great fun, but they do take time. And we want to show you how it's done and how you winkle information out of the council. It's quite an interesting little job to do, and we need you guys.
It's an important thing to learn because as like across London, we're all affected by these issues locally. We kind of need to learn how to approach them locally, and it kind of starts here. So
last week we met a group of people that Cypher Smiley, who are a long-standing member of Queen's Market. A long-standing member of Queen's Market. Has been working on it for quite a long time, and in going and communicate with people, a group of people across Europe. And we had a pleasure of meeting them at the market. And I just want to ask Pauline and Stan, what was your experience of meeting them people? You know, engaging with them.
I think for a lot of them went, oh yes, when we mentioned our problems. So, you know, I won't say it's quite the same, the whole world, but we did get a bit of that.
Yeah, so we got a lot of familiarity with their problems, right? We did. Because we was talking to, there was a gentleman from Marseille.
Yeah.
And said they've got a historical market there.
They have, it's fantastic.
And it's a big, fantastic market, and that is under attack. And they don't know why, because there's plenty of other spaces to build on. So, but they want to go for that market space because Marseille being a historical sort of town. Now, I really don't understand where this force is coming from, where this drive is coming, because it's not resolving housing issues.
No.
We have got places in Stratford which are empty. We've got places in Gallions which were empty. We've got places in London or Newham which are half empty because the investors are just keeping them there, and it's cheaper to leave them empty than it is to trying to fight to get tenants out at a later date. So I don't know how we're going to get beyond that. I really don't know how the government's going to get beyond that, but somehow
we got to give our politicians a kick up the what's it.
Yeah.
Like you said, it's happening everywhere. So it's good to know we're all in it together at the end of the day.
Sadly, I wish we weren't in this one and we're fighting different battles, but this has to be a collective battle, and it has to be a sort of bigger battle. I mean, Annette from Australia, she said there's got problems over there. We're from Brisbane, isn't
Brisbane, yeah.
And there's problems over there in the markets. They're going for market space. It seems like the poor start these areas, they keep them for hundreds of years or whatever years, and then it's like as if we're safeguarding it for them. I don't know who them are. And then they just come and occupy that space.
Rich people,
you know,
developers,
right?
Corporations.
We are going to end this, ladies and gentlemen, and hopefully we'll come back. So please tune in next time, and we'll come back. So thank you to all our listeners and viewers across social media. Remember to like, comment, subscribe on your YouTube page, Revive FM UK. Have a great day until next time. This has been your host, Sant.